Well, good morning, everyone, to a fabulous day on the Queen Mary 2. My name is Gina Strumpf. As you know, I'm a professional artist from Charlotte, North Carolina. I try to get back to every seat and everyone and let you know what I'm doing. If you don't understand me, because I do have a Southern accent, just raise your hand. I will come back and try to say it a little clearer. Welcome. Welcome to all of you. We did 2 lessons yesterday, and I was impressed. So I thought, as our week is kind of rolling down, we're going to try to do 2 more this morning. I repeat the lesson. This lesson will repeat it in the afternoon. I'll be repeated again in the afternoon. As you see, if you're going to come early. This first wash was just a light little lay-in. I can even take this same color, and I can do a little wash right down in the bottom of that water. Not a lot, just a light little color wash. So that will be my first translucent layer. Guys, the next little wash that I'm going to do, and thank you for your patience in this, mine is still fairly cool to the touch. I'm going to have my paper again upside down. I have made myself a very pale little puddle of the yellow, and you can use either of those yellows. You have a kind of a lemon yellow, and you have a darker orangey yellow. I think I've used the lemon, but I've forgotten what I've done there. But I'm just going to lightly touch, and I'm just going to kind of skip across that paper a little bit. I don't want to overdo it. And I'm really leaving a little white in there as well. And I can tap my brush, and I'm just lightly touching that, okay? It's ever so pale. I'm showing you how to get these effects. Now, there is blue in that, but I don't want to jump in and put that blue right away, because if I put blue next to that yellow, I'm going to create a lovely shade of green up in my sky. So I'm going to let this kind of dry a little bit before I come back. And this is I've got it right side up now. So this is the reflection down in the water. This is the sky up here. And I'm not adding the blue right this minute because I'm using my flat. I'm using my flat. And if you get in the habit of using a fairly large brush and learning to use the tip of it when you're doing these washes, then you'll get, a nice quick lay-in of color. And I've got all sorts of huge brushes that I can play with. Now, the larger the brush, obviously the more pigment and the more water it's going to sop up. So always be, cognizant of the amount of water you've sopped up and not depositing too much water down. So I've got my pink, I've got my little bit of yellow. I'm not going to do too much more on this. I will add my blue sky after this is dried a little bit, because I don't want to turn this into green. Okay, so my next little area I'm going to go, and at this point I am going to pick up my round brush. This is a sable round brush. You've got a nice round brush, but when you invest, as you continue your journey, invest in a very nice brush, and it should come to a fine tip when you shake it out. I could use the whole body of this brush, and that's what I want to do, is get a full motion, or I can go in and get very fine detail. Again, not getting too close up on my handle like this and getting a little detail, but moving your hand back and having a nice fluid movement. I'm going to look at that background of those trees. My pink should be fairly dry at this point. And I'm going to take a little bit of my blue, not the phthalo, but the French ultramarine. I'm going to make myself a nice puddle. I'm tapping it to the paper towel. My paper is fairly dry, my brush is wet, and I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to lay a nice soft wash right across that. You've got 2 blues. You've got one that's a little darker and very staining. Now I'm going to take some water. I've got it upside down, and I'm going to pull that line of color just like so.
Are you doing the water dark line?
I'm doing the trees. I'm doing the background of the trees. But I'm doing a blue because I'm going to mix my green. Okay, here it is.
Oh.
That was this is what I'm doing right back here. Yeah.
Excuse me, are you doing the trees on the island?
I'm doing the trees on the far island. Yeah. Now I want to mop up a little bit of that paint where I know that these trees are kind of going to come up in there. So, yeah. So here's where I am. I dropped in that lower portion right here of that far background island. Here's my foreground. My middle ground is right there. That's what I've added in. I begin to paint very fast. So the beauty of this is that loose feel, and it lends itself to more observation than me walking around painting on my head and trying to do it layer by layer. So I'm going to show you how I do this. Many of you have tried to do it, but if you see how I do it, then you can go back and try it. And the more you practice it, you're going to be able to do it. I rarely sketch anything like this out. I just have an idea. And oftentimes I'll be holding a bouquet of fresh flowers in my hand, or I'll have something live to paint from. I encourage you all to try to paint from life. And flowers are the best source of painting from life because you can hold them and twist them and look at them, and they are real. And you'll see how light affects them. I paint very impressionistically, so I'm not trying to get every little detail. I'm trying to capture the feel of it, the nature of it. So I'm painting the attitude, not the noun of the flower, but the feeling of it. So I start by loading my brush up, and I'll just start, feeling an area, controlling that pigment.